5, 4, 3, 2, 1. The first 6 segments of this year, we're going to take the Pirate Nation to Speed School. We want to talk today about body position, and the first thing I want to talk about is proper hip position with regard to speed development. It's very important that everybody understands that anterior pelvic tilt is the enemy of speed. So basically what we're talking about is this position. Now if you look at this position, a football player, for instance, has been taught to be in this good position through his entire career. So you can see that we've got good angles, okay, where if we have to block or tackle or extend at the ankle, knee, and hip joint, we're in a good position. Good flat back position as well. The problem with this is not a good position if you're trying to open up and get fast. So over a period of time, what happens with football players is because they're in this position that they become tight in the hip flexors, and they also don't learn after the first acceleration phase to get up nice and tall with the hips soon enough. They also don't understand that body lean should be from head to contact foot at 45 degrees and that we should not bend at the waist. Basically what we see here, the first problem with this position is what we call swing leg block, okay? So if I'm in this position and I try to raise my leg to run, it's actually going to block about right there, okay? So if it blocks right there, I'm obviously not going to have a lot of space to put force down and back into the ground. If I'm in this position right here with my hips, I'm able to get my thigh this high now, and so I have more space to put force in the ground. This is very similar to a golf swing. So if I'm going to hit a golf ball and my back swing comes to here, I'm going to have a really great follow through to hit that ball any distance at all. Same thing with swing leg block. We're talking about this position. By the same token now, if I'm able to get here, now I've got a lot more space to put force into the ground and develop club head speed. And that same principle applies to leg speed. When my hips are here, the knee is here, and now I've got more space to put force into the ground. Speed is basically the product of force applied into the ground because that's what projects my hips through the air and gives me stride length. So, a couple other factors involved there. If my hips are not in a proper position, I don't have a stretch on the psoas, the hip flexors, and therefore my leg recovery is slower. If I have a pre-stretch in that muscle group, I'm going to recover that leg faster. Also, if I'm in this position, I'm not in a good position to put force into the ground with the glutes and hamstrings, and I'm going to be a lot more susceptible to pulling a hamstring in an anterior pelvic tilt position. The other problem that's caused with swing leg block is if I'm bent here and I block the thigh and that foreleg swings forward, now I have foot plant ahead of the hip. Foot plant ahead of the hip can be equated with a braking force that you have to overcome. I'm no longer now in a driving phase, a driving mode, I'm in a pulling mode. So now I'm also more susceptible to hamstring pulls here and casting that foreleg forward. Again, coming from the result of blocking the thigh, momentum carrying that leg forward. Or I might have the misconception that if I cast that leg out, I'm going to improve my stride length. That is not true. That is a myth. I get stride length by putting more force down and back into the ground. So this proper hip position is extremely important for every athlete, whether it's through the acceleration phase or even after we get up tall and we're running at top speed, which is known as max velocity. Even in that position, I want to have my shoulder ahead of the hip, okay? And basically that's the angle that we're talking about as far as body lean from head to foot as opposed to here. Okay, so that's a very important principle to understand, particularly when you're training football players to become faster because they have that common problem from being in this position and being taught to be in that position and really having a hard time opening up the hips as they sprint.